I think we're live.
Have we done it?
I really hope so. I'm not 100% positive. Still trying to work out a few of the kinks.
Yeah. Tell me more. I'm hearing something. There we go. Let's get that volume.
We're going to drop the
muted.
volume down on that TV so we're not hearing that behind us. And folks, welcome to Who Pods the Watchmen. I'm Grant Davis, your host, and alongside me is...
Clay.
And just Clay?
Just Clay. Yeah.
Like Cher. All right, cool. That's cool. And we are here to talk about our final issue of of The Watchmen.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about issue 12.
I think this is a new thing for everybody. First of all, why are they seeing us and not just hearing us?
I
guess they're seeing and hearing us.
Well, depends on how you're watching this. I mean, some people might just be listening to us, but we are trying out a brand new experiment here where we are on video. And we have multiple cameras, so you're on it too.
Yeah.
And I can toggle between these as we're live streaming. We got our logo here, and we got drinks. And we're trying this out in the studio. I happen to run a studio here in Austin, Texas called Permanent Record Studio. It's Permanent RCRD. You can see the little logo right up there. And yeah, we're trying to video set up right now. So testing things out, seeing how a live stream goes. Hopefully this is going out to YouTube all right now.
And I think this is a special episode for multiple reasons. Not only because we now have video, but because this is the last issue. And that is why
it's the final issue.
Some champagne.
Let's
be honest, I have $12 Prosecco.
Wow.
Sitting in
Fancy.
a recycling can filled with ice.
All right.
So I might pop that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
It's a celebration. We've done it. We've finished this. And folks, while he's popping the Prosecco, let me just say we are a companion podcast for the upcoming HBO series The Watchmen over on HBO. We are very excited for that debut here October 20th, 2019. And in anticipation, we have been going through and reading all 12 issues of Who Pods the Watchmen. Oh, you got the plastic glasses?
This is basically like a flute. This is the closest I could find to a champagne flute. So
very nice, very fancy. So we're going through the entire original 12 issues of Alan Moore's amazing comic book, Watchmen, and we have finally reached the final chapter. Chapter 12, issue 12, episode 12. We're going to do a deep dive discussing all of that. We're also going to have a special guest in a bit call in.
I believe we will. It might actually be a fan favorite.
A fan favorite?
Would you say
Is
so?
it the Sugar Cubes? Are the Sugar Cubes calling in? Awesome, if so.
Yeah, that would be a rough conversation. But I think we do have a fan favorite, and I want to say, everybody, thank you for supporting us on Patreon and getting involved, and also getting involved on Instagram and LinkedIn and Alta Vista and Ask Jeeves and all the other social media platforms. Did anybody send you any fan mail? Did we get any weird Son of Sam letters or anything like that?
The Pony Express delivering snail
right.
mail.
Did we get any like owls or anything from Hogwarts?
That's I think you're mixing shows, but yes, we did. We got
owl. Harry Potter had an owl.
You're in. You got into Hogwarts.
Did I? Okay.
It's happening.
Cheers.
The dream is
Cheers,
alive.
mate.
Cheers.
We've done it.
We read it.
All right. So, yeah, I think, this was going to be a fun episode because not only are we going to discuss issue 12, I also wanted to kind of revisit some of the other ones and see how this one fit into everything, and a few of our favorite moments, least favorite moments, and a few other kind of categories we came up with.
Right. And now that we've finally concluded this, there's a lot of things that I didn't actually remember about this issue, and how it kind of plays into the overall mythology of the Watchmen series and the ramifications for what the TV show is going to have to, I guess, live within, like be housed within this kind of universe. It's very fascinating to me.
Yeah. I'm actually more excited now about the TV show after reading this last one.
Because you certainly had some predictions, some ideas of where you thought the story was going, and I'm pretty sure it took a left turn from a lot of traditional storyline tropes and narratives that you probably were anticipating for this.
I would agree 100%. Yeah. For me, I think people kind of were dogging me about that a little bit, that I didn't know where it was going. And I think that, I don't know if it necessarily surprised me because I don't know what I was expecting, but I'll tell you, I am very, very happy that there was no go back in time and change things nonsense. That would have made the TV show very boring.
Right.
In fact, now we have a situation where 30 years ago, half of New York was destroyed by an alien monster, and we get to discover what happened in the last 30 years.
Exactly.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I'm really looking forward now to the TV show, and I don't necessarily know that I was before. I was going to watch it because of Lindelof and because HBO, and it's kind of a slow time right now.
Mm.
But now it's actually like must-see TV.
Well, yeah, we've lost some of the other big tentpole shows. Game of Thrones is gone. The question now for a lot of people is, what's the next big water cooler show? Like, what's going to be that week-to-week
It's not going to be this.
You don't think so?
It's not going to be this.
It could be.
Lindelof doesn't do the easy thing. After Lost, he probably. I mean, I know he was bummed and feeling some hate from fans. I think undeservedly so. But and also if you change to me, there's no way I have enough wherewithal or whatever to actually look at the camera.
You don't have to.
So
it's
that's
fine that you look at me.
People are going to see. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet.
You're welcome to look at me.
I'm scared. I'm just going to look right in your eyes and keep going. So yeah.
These eyes.
So I don't know if this is necessarily going to be because I'm excited about Lindelof. I like comics. I wasn't even that excited about it. So was the average person really going to love it? Now I am after actually reading issue 12 and going through this with you, but I don't know.
So there's value in doing the deep dive. See, I'm hoping that people will start watching the show, and what will happen is very similar to what happened with Game of Thrones, where the first season ended and people go, I need to know more. And they'll go back in and they'll want to read the comic. I hope there'll be like a reinvigoration and an appreciation for this original work, because I know that Lindelof loves this. He's quoted on the back of the book.
Right.
As loving this and praising it as the greatest artistic medium of all time. What did he say? It was
greatest piece of fiction.
He said, it's all right. Yeah.
Oh, really?
The greatest piece of popular fiction ever produced.
Yeah.
That's a pretty glowing endorsement.
Kind of a backhanded compliment, though, with popular fiction.
I guess.
I don't know.
Who wants to be popular?
Yeah. No, it's good music for pop music. I don't know.
Okay, so you had a few things you wanted to address before we jump into this.
Did I?
Yeah, you had a list, right?
Oh, okay. So I didn't know which order you want to do. Did you want to do the summary of 12? Because I don't know if we probably want to catch everybody up on that and then go to some categories, or did you want to actually do the reverse?
Well, I see that you're fingering some noisy candy.
I'm fingering the M&M's hazelnut spread. Which, have you had it yet? I know it's pretty new.
No, I have not. I don't like chocolate being mixed with.
Oh, so you mean I should not have purchased the share size.
No, you should get mint M&Ms. Mint M&Ms are.
I think that's just at
amazing.
Christmas. I think that's at Christmas, no?
Is it? Well.
So I apologize. Just how it goes.
No. By all means, people are listening to us. Get on mic and just munch the shit out of those. Just yeah. Drop them onto your book. All of that. It's gonna be great for audio. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and jump into talking about this comic. Then, I guess, without further ado, it's time to talk about issue 12. And the title of issue 12 was A Stronger, Loving World. And it's juxtaposed between an alien just wrecking shop on New York City and just dead bodies everywhere, including the Bernies, the Bernie Bros.
Yeah, and actually back it up a little bit, because Baby knows you like the cover.
The cover?
Yeah. I mean, we know, people know you like the cover, so I don't want to miss that. What did you think about this cover?
So the cover shows the clock striking 12 and blood raining down. It's significant because the Doomsday Clock has been a looming Doomsday Clock, albatross, I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
A representation of the anxiety that's building up.
Right. Yeah. And it's just, it's the final culmination of everything that people have been afraid of. We now have the world has been altered for better or worse. We'll discuss that. And in a way that is going to just, now we're going to be dealing with the ramifications. And we have blood pouring down from a clock tower in the city of New York, that clock. So, I get it. I think it's a little bit more straightforward than the nuance of the other ones, but I still think it's actually pretty iconic as far as a cover. That's what I would conclude on. It's what I feel we're fearing and anticipating, and the comic encapsulates that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that
But it's on the nose.
I think they like to do a lot with kind of symmetry in mirrors here. And if we look at number 1, right, the cover for 1, we do have the blood. We do have the smiley face with the blood splatter. And so now this is kind of the similar circular shape with the clock face. And now we just have pools of blood. So pretty symmetrical there. Anyway, I don't know that we need to necessarily go on about it. Because you're right, it is on the nose. It's pretty evident. There's not a lot of nuance there. But just kind of wanted to get to the cover because I know you were thinking about it.
I'm always thinking about it. I do like how all the covers do show the clock and that you see it ticking closer and closer to midnight until the final cover has it at midnight. It's a cool way to also tie all of them in chronological order.
Summarize this baby for me in 20 words.
20 words?
I'll count them for you, but exactly 20.
Ozymandias.
No, I'm sorry. I meant 20 syllables. You actually just blew a lot of it with Ozymandias. No, okay, 20 words. So
Ozymandias destroys Earth, and the heroes now grapple with the new world that has been created.
16. You're pretty good.
Huh? Is that pretty good?
And Dan gets laid.
Dan gets laid. There we go. That's all 20.
That's all we really care about.
Yeah. It's serious. You see, I mean, it's weird because Alan Moore is very wordy, right? Mm-hmm. He's very loquacious. So for them to dedicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages to just the chaos, just artistry, and the destruction that has gone on with this alien in New York City, I think it's just kind of like, wow. The impact of that is what's most important here in this. He wants to show the destruction, the dead bodies, the actual human cost of what Ozymandias did, and then we're going to have a reckoning, I guess, to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, I think that violence and the carnage kind of speaks for itself, and when you have thousands of dead bodies lying there, draped out of windows, I don't really think you need to say much.
No.
And I think that, so just to kind of give everybody a little bit more of a summary, more than 20 words, I think you did a commendable job. But I think we were leading up, in issue 11, we had Dan and Rorschach down in Antarctica, right, trying to get to the bottom of everything and actually trying to stop something that they thought was coming. Okay?
Right.
So we thought maybe it was a possibility and it was likely that it was going to stop. Also, we knew that the clock was ticking up to midnight. We were getting ready for that. And then we find out at the very end, oh, shit, 35 minutes ago or so, right? Actually, the bomb dropped. It wasn't a bomb. It was a psychic alien. It was a psychic genetic mutated tachyon producer.
The psychic brain part, the fact that it goes there, it lands, it explodes, and I guess sends out a psychic shockwave across the planet that is going to mess up everyone's dreams.
Would you be one of the sensitives who would have bad dreams for a long time, or would you be somebody who's a little too daft or dense to get that? Are you a sensitive soul?
See, I don't know if... No, I think I'm kind of a little bit emotionally dead in certain regards. I don't cry at movies ever.
Really?
The last movie I cried at was The Sixth Man, which is that basketball movie with Marlon Wayans. Oh yes, folks. I cried at that movie. He died, but he came back to help his brother win the basketball tournament. It was very sad.
Well, you need to see Like Mike.
That's gonna blow.
Boy, do I have
mind.
a suggestion for you.
Maybe that's the next one I gotta get to. No, I don't know. I think I can be. I'm like an artist. I can be sensitive in that kind of regard. I guess I empathize with other people's feelings, but I don't necessarily emote in a strong way.
Okay. Yeah. No. I've always tried to gain your affection and love, and I just don't really see it. So. Yeah, so, that's blown. So we have the destruction in New York, and we find out, of course, he already said it in 11, but he did it to save the world. He thought that the world would unite, United States and Russia. They were leading up to a nuclear conflict, and he thought that was the only way because another force externally coming down from space or wherever would unite the nations of the world together. We would kind of enlarge our sense of what it is to be, what's in our tribe and who's our tribe, and then we would group together. There would be no more war. There'd be no more bloodshed. We'd have Medicare for all, single payer. It'd be incredible. So,
but the Bernies die. So I don't know. Is the dream
The
dead?
Bernie's dying. Oh my God, Bernie had a tough one this week, but we'll see. So we figure out that now Vate is going after Dr. Manhattan because of course he has to. He has to know that okay, Manhattan's going to come check this out.
Well, it seems more like Manhattan was off of the scent of Vate, and he hid everything from him.
Yeah.
And now Manhattan's after Vate.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a showdown, I guess.
It is a showdown.
Between potentially people that actually can hold their own against each other.
And I think we saw that, yeah, that is true. And what won out? Was it might? No. It was reason.
It's complex, though.
I mean, he went big boy. I have it in my notes, Kool-Aid Man, page 17. Because you love that page 17 when he's a big boy staring at him outside the window.
It's
and
pretty
it was the
powerful
Kool-Aid
stuff.
Man coming through. I fucking loved it. Excuse my language. And I thought it was over right there. We actually even saw the lettering was real big,
Mm.
It was like Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah, his command.
And then he says, "Oh, I have a secret weapon in my hand." And it's a remote control because he's showing everyone what good he did. And they just kind of had to say, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah, right there.
So
no one can see it from that far
so
back.
just for everybody, okay, so then everybody's still trying to stop him. What did he do? Let's arrest him. Let's let the world know what he did. And then all the heroes basically decide, shit, maybe the world will be better off. The one hero who did not think that was our main man, Rorschach. Black and white, never the two shall meet. This guy killed somebody, so he gets to go to the slammer. As he's leaving, he explodes. He gets microwaved.
He gets exploded.
One time I was
He doesn't
babysitting.
just by accident.
I was
explode.
babysitting once in 5th or 6th grade.
Please don't say you put the kid in the microwave.
No, but the kid told me that, do you remember those rocks? And you would put them in those machines and they would spin them and they'd throw glitter and metal on them and foil? And
No.
it would be like glitter rocks. The product might have actually been called glitter rocks.
I don't remember this.
So this kid said, the glitter rocks thing is broken, so my parents let me wrap the rock in foil and glitter and just microwave it. And I'm a 5th grader, so I don't know you're not supposed to put foil and metals in the microwave. And I was like, yeah, let's put some rocks in there. And it blew up. Not unlike Rorschach.
Yeah.
That's where this story was going. I'm just wanting everybody to know because some people
Accurate.
might not have read it in a while, and they rely on us for actual information.
Right.
Rorschach blows up, so now we realize that no one's actually going to know that it was Vate that did this.
It was pretty rotten, too. Like, the blood and just, viscera is scattering all over the snow. And, John doesn't give a shit. Dr. Manhattan's just like, whatever. Peace.
It was a bummer for sure. I don't know if it necessarily even had to happen, and I think that's a story. That's another conversation. What here had to happen because it happened. But yeah.
So, we see that Dr. Manhattan ends up figuring out, hey, there's something weird going on. I don't understand why I couldn't see the future and detect that this is what was going to occur, right? He's a little bit thrown off. He's off of his groove, and he's like, oh, I got to go investigate why this happened. So it must be tachyons. Let me figure out whatever. Let me triangulate with my all-knowing, all-powerful, all-being self where the biggest coagulation of tachyons is going on. And he says, Antarctica. So he and Silk Spectre just peace out to Antarctica. And when they go to confront him, he's still, it still seems...
Would you like some more champagne?
Yes. It still seems like there's this ultimate hero moment for us, being familiar with the story, that Dr. Manhattan is that all-powerful Superman who's going to come in and he's going to confront Ozymandias and he's going to right the wrongs. He's going to reset time. He's going to bring people back to life with whatever crazy abilities he has, right?
Right.
But no, there's no real true heroes. In fact, the true idea of a hero is Ozymandias basically says it's dead. It says Night Owl and Rorschach are the last bastions of an old antiquated system of heroism, and heroism has had to evolve beyond that, and it's having a much bigger picture and a Machiavellian kind of might of the end will justify me doing terrible things in order to save humanity, right?
Yeah, and instead of a true hero, halfway down on page 13, we have Where's Waldo? If you look at Vate, he's just hiding there in his little booth when he vaporizes, maybe the only thing he actually loves, Pugnacious. which is my name for Bubastis.
Pugnacious.
He kills Pugnacious, and he's hiding there in a little booth.
Mm.
And so, yeah, you're right. Again, he's not doing this old, we thought it was going to be a showdown, a standoff. They were going to yell at each other, confront each other, mano-y-mano. And instead, he's hiding in a little booth to keep him away from the vaporizing rays.
So it's interesting that he recognized that Dr. Manhattan's a threat. And Ozymandias decided that it is important that he do such a big mass killing of people with an alien threat in order to save humanity, but he wasn't himself willing to die for it, right?
Right.
He wasn't.
In fact, he was investing in companies to profit from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's his true heroism here? In fact, he still has these delusions of grandeur that he's going to now step forward and create a new utopia based upon the altered landscape of humanity, of society.
So his idea of heroism, and that's exactly right. He's a tinkerer, and his true challenge in life is to tinker and to make a better world because he's succeeded in everything else and it's boring. So he thinks, what's the hardest thing? Let me change the path of humanity, right? And you look at the last part where he's meditating and he looks at that, it's like a galaxy or something, or not a galaxy, a solar system, right?
Right.
And I think it's really telling because obviously there's, the sun in the center and everything ostensibly
And
is
he's above it
revolving
all.
around, and he's above it all. And if you look to, which I've avoided the notes and like the little things in between because I just wanted to stick to like the canon, right? But in the original source material, but there are some descriptions of the characters, and one of in his, because it says like how does each character view the world, which was really cool. And his was he sees himself at the center of the world, or something like that, right? And that's exactly what it is here. So what is his idea of a hero? And is he doing it for heroic reasons, or is he just doing it because it's a challenge and he likes the chase? I don't know. And if some people end up, if there's with the U.S.-Russia buildup or Soviet Union buildup, if maybe 5 million people were going to die and he just killed 4,999,000, whatever, then maybe was it worth it? I don't know. So it's, again, who's a hero and what is a hero, and are there heroes here?
I would say there's a hero for every person in a way, right? There's some virtue that you can identify in each of these characters, whether it's even in the sort of pacifism and just astonishment and the compassion for the humanity that Laurie shows, right? I would say like she isn't there like charging in trying to kick Ozymandias in the dick or anything. In fact, she's just trying to puke a bunch because of the interstellar travel or whatever she's doing. But she's locked so much in the thought of the individuals, the pain of all of them. She seems to feel the most actual empathy for everyone who's died, sympathy, and
well, she's the average Jane off the street, compared to Manhattan, who literally takes her to Mars and forgets that she needs to breathe.
Right.
Right. I mean, he's sitting there, and he's kind of talking about, oh wow, it's fun to not know everything for once, and he's in the middle of like thousands of dead people or millions of dead people, and he's thinking about how exciting it is because now he's on the hunt, and she's actually kind of the real person, how we probably would act. I don't know. You just admitted to the whole world of being emotionally devoid, but generally speaking. So yeah, I mean, I think that she did, but let me say one thing here, and this is kind of going off course, but still staying on Laurie. Bring it back to us. Take it back to both of us, baby. I don't like to be on there by myself. What was up with page 22? The Dick Tracy Rocketeer moment. Have you ever seen this movie called Jupiter Ascending? When they cram,
I know you just watched it.
When they cram romantic scenes in where they don't need to be. Literally, here we go. This is one of my favorite things. The millions of people have just died, and she goes, "Yeah, John, he got pissed off or something when I told him about us." And they're in a madman's house. This madman could kill them, and they're still deciding maybe they need to kill this madman, right?
Right.
And then he stops and he goes, "So was John cool with it that we hooked up?" It just turned into like MTV The Real World or something. It kind of got like Beach House,
I have complaints with everything starting with page 20, I think, onward.
Precisely.
everything suddenly feels very rushed in the plot. And Alan Moore,
Well, you just mentioned Game of Thrones.
yeah, well, it's worse than that. It's like Alan Moore wasted 6 pages in the front, really showing the weight of the destruction of New York, and then suddenly he just had to like crank out some dialogue and get from A to M really quickly, and so he just starts going, okay, so what if I propose that Ozymandias says, "Look, what else you guys gonna do? Let's compromise." And everyone's like, okay, like without like any real debate.
No one said, "Are you kidding?" Where was the "Are you kidding?"
Right. It's just that we first see like Night Owl go, "Oh, gee, I don't know what we should. Okay, I guess count me in." And then Laura's like, "Really? Do we have to do this? I guess we have to do this." I'm like, "No."
Yeah, you know,
there's no debate. Like this is a really heavy thing. You guys are constantly struggling with the morality of situations and your role within that world. For you to just kind of roll over and go, well, I'm not even going to take the time to think about the weight and consequences of you committing genocide versus saving humanity. I'm just going to assume that what you said is completely accurate. And I'm going to assume that the blue glowing guy, Dr. Manhattan, who's been so completely emotionally devoid and he's given up on humanity, that if he says, oh yeah, that makes sense, that he's also right.
He's a lapdog. You know, he was the United States government's lapdog.
He was, yeah.
He then, the only thing he does here, he's Vate's cleanup crew. He goes outside and takes out the trash. By that I mean he explodes Rorschach.
We have this really cool scene, like
Bizarre.
you talked about, where he's super big, he crashes into the building, and he's a monster who's like, I can reconstitute myself in a matter of seconds. I walked upon the sun. You think you can do this to me? And then Vate's like, well, check out the TV. And he's like, oh, never mind. He rolls over. You're right. He's a lapdog.
Yeah, it was bizarre. The whole thing was bizarre. And hey, look, I'm not saying it was bad. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not saying it was bad. And I'm not saying it doesn't make sense and it wasn't the way it should have worked and ended. Because it does make sense to me and it's not a bad ending. I'm not dogging it. But I just still think, yeah, it was rushed. I don't really know that the reactions were genuine.
We've lived with this world for the past, 3 months. We've been reading this an issue a week and talking about it. So, yeah, we've been really engrossed in this, and we've gotten a real good sense of the pacing of how he writes and how he lays out a scene, takes his time and crafts with a lot of consideration, I think. Yeah, this felt really rushed. How he seemed to just want to jump into Night Owl and Silk Spectre hooking up. I can get the psychological rationale behind it, but I felt like the writing in this particular scene
and
felt
that's why
a little bit hokey.
Well, I wrote Dick Tracy Rocketeer. It seemed like something that was more like in a 1950s comic book that comes with a stick of bubble gum. Right? I mean, it just wasn't. It wasn't up to his usual standards. But, I mean, again, maybe you needed some of that old school romanticism. You know, I mean, I want to talk later about how she was the one spooning him, and but, we'll get to that in a minute.
Her being the big spoon. It
doesn't surprise me. Again, it doesn't surprise me, but it doesn't mean I like it. So
you're a man of traditional values.
Yeah, that's me.
A man is the spoon.
A man is the big spoon.
The worst.
Yeah. So, hey, wait, real quick, though. What did you think about I actually just loaded up, much to Diana's chagrin. I decided last night at about midnight, maybe 12:30, we were going to start the last episode of, start and finish the last episode of The Leftovers. And we turn it on, and it starts going, and she goes, ooh, an hour, 17 minutes? Or no, 117 minutes? I was like, yeah, it's going to be a late one. And so we're a little tired today, if you can't tell. I'm not bringing that usual verve and vigor. But what did you think about the extra bonus we had here? I was getting ready for it to end at 28. He stretched it to 32.
Yeah, you're right.
There was something for the fans.
There's what do you call that? Denouement?
Yeah, a little denouement.
And much better than book 7 of Harry Potter. That's what I'll say.
Was that the last one?
Yeah. Remember when they're on the train? They're older in the train. It's horrible.
I did not think that was bad. I do have a quick story about that. That came out when I was in the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there. I had read Harry Potter every year. So I lived with that for like, 6 years, like a lot of us did. Right? We couldn't get the book because we're in the middle of Africa. So people would send them to us. And as you know, I think you sent me a couple things, and they took like 2 or 3 months to get there.
I sent you some magic cards, and you lost them. They thought they were evil witches cards, and I
I didn't lose them.
I lost 2 sweet-ass decks, like a bruiser deck and a moldy deck. And I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah, the post office, I did not lose them. I never saw them. So somebody's there, and I'm waiting for 3 months for this package to show up, right? And there's no tracking or anything. You just got to wait. And somebody comes into a party. We would get together like once a month in the capital, in the country we were in, and drink and stuff. And somebody runs in and yells the ending.
What the hell?
Yeah, cardinal sin. Cardinal sin.
Why?
Just wanted to be a jerk face, and ruined it for all of us, serving our country in a way, and ruined it. So anyway,
was it that one guy I hate?
Did you hate somebody? Nah, I don't know if we necessarily need to talk about that. I don't remember. I don't remember you hating anybody. But either way, let's keep it under wraps. So yeah. So anyway, I loved the 32. If anybody's going to go read, you're going to get 4 or 5 extra pages here. It's pretty sweet.
Well, let's talk about the biggest issue going on with this last few pages, though.
Yeah.
It is that yellow mustache on Dan Dryberg.
Yeah.
His yellow buzz cut hair and yellow mustache.
Are you a man really to judge someone else's mustache?
Oh, you talking about this guy?
Yeah.
Man.
How much wax when
I understand this is cartoonish. But also, Dan Dryberg is looking like Biff. He looks like a guy who would become sheriff of Tulsa PD in modern day.
Yeah.
And he's Don Johnson now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks horrible.
Yeah. Absolutely. And he's wearing a tie on Christmas Day, though, which you have to respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's wearing a black shirt and a red tie on Christmas Day.
They are looking so dowdy here in these last few pages. You have Silk Spectre and you have Night Owl, and they've both dyed their hair blonde, and they have a new hairstyle. He's got a mustache and short hair. She's got short blonde hair. They're incognito, and they're coming to visit her mom.
She lives incognito?
She's
the town of Cognito, Florida?
Yeah, incognito, Florida. They've come to visit the mom, and they're going under the pseudonym of Mr. and Mrs. Hollis, named after Hollis Mason, the Night Owl. And what's interesting about that is in the upcoming HBO show, we have a Agent Laurie Blake, which is very presumably Silk Spectre again, Laurie Giuseppe, a.k.a. Laurie Hollis, a.k.a. now Laurie Blake, going after her dad's last name, the comedian. And so I guess she's just gone through different iterations and changed her name. We don't really know for sure if Don Johnson's character is actually Night Owl. There's just kind of speculation that he could be, because it's Don Johnson, and he would also be of that age. But we don't know. Anyway, But we do know now that they changed their names. They've done it before in the past. There's no reason they couldn't also do it again when, the flames fizzle out. There's Speed 1 where Keanu and Sandra Bullock fall in love, but by Speed 2, he's hit the bricks. And you got, the poor man's Keanu Reeves, whatever that dude's name was in there.
Ooh, that was a tough one. That was my first date, Speed 2.
Was it really?
Yeah, and the ticket taker thought that I was with my babysitter. Because I think it was like 7th grade when girls are taller than boys.
Right, and you're a tall dude, so
I'm a tall dude, and she was, I guess, she was svelte. I don't know. But they would not let me in. And then they asked me how old I was, and I was 12. And I said, 12, 13, 14, 12, 13, 12. And then they looked at me and said, well, you're with your, nailed it. And they're like, okay, well, you're with your babysitter, so you can go in. And so I didn't get to a second date.
You didn't get to second base.
Yeah. No, a second date.
Oh.
I was 12. I wasn't thinking about bases, buddy. I was thinking about conversation.
What's second base at 12 years old?
Little handhold.
Little handhold?
Yeah. Well, maybe even like an arm, your shoulders touch while you're walking in the halls together.
Right. I figure eye contact is first base.
Yeah, right.
Acknowledging of my existence, second base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Third
Mhm.
base is we bump into each other.
In which way? Like which direction?
Accidentally.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
You mean you're like tailing her? Like,
yeah.
she's going to a class and your class is like on the opposite side of school, but you're following her and she stops and you trip over her.
And
or
the home,
something?
yeah.
Yeah.
The home run
That
is
to you is bumping into each other.
the home run is a restraining order.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's-
The home run is her parents talking to your parents.
Right.
Right. Hey, so did you want to visit any more about this particular issue, or do you want to talk about the greater series as a whole?
Yeah, dude. There's one thing in particular
Well, you want to talk? Okay.
really want to point out. Ozymandias, when
Mhm.
he is talking about his big old plot, where he has dotted all his I's, crossed all his T's, figured out everything, gotten a psychic brain from someone and was able to get the writers and the artists and poets to all kind of collaborate on this horrific kind of nightmare scenario that they can implant into his brain. He also talks about how all of these soldiers, he had people kill them, and then those people killed themselves. But then he also talks. Let me see if I can find this particular passage here. He talks about how his servants also fell on their sword.
Well, he said they drank and then opened up the
And it's
vivarium or
bullshit
something.
what he says.
Well, of course.
But, like, why did he kind of frame it that way? He says, my servant's death from exposure after drunkenly opening my vivarium provides a silent capstone. So when he's telling them about all the steps he took, for some reason he lies in this particular passage about the death of his servants. He can't admit that he poisoned his servants at the last minute. The people that were the closest to him and probably the most loyal. He also killed them just to preserve his
secrecy.
His secrecy, right?
Yeah.
He instead says that they were loyal to the very end, that they even took their own lives on behalf of his plan. But that wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
He killed them. He opened the vivarium. He buried them in snow. And I think there's something extremely telling about that, as well as the scene at the very end. He operates with such a high degree of confidence about, in how he's talking to everyone else about, what he did. He casually goes, he pushes the button. He's got 35 minutes until he's dealing with Night Owl and Rorschach, right? He is talking to them just so nonchalantly while he beats them up about what his plan was. He doesn't care. It's yeah, this was the right thing to do, and I am absolute in my conviction about that. Except when the one person who might actually be as smart or as knowing as him kind of confronts him, and that's right at the end. He talks to Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan comes into his room while he's meditating, and he says, John, wait, right before you leave, I did the right thing, didn't I? It all worked out in the end. And John kind of laughs at him and goes, in the end, nothing ends, Adrian. Nothing ever ends. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty profound right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's lying, he's ashamed to some degree. He can't fully admit what he did. He knows that he's not acting as altruistically or as admirably as he kind of wants to imagine he is. He's doing some dastardly things by killing his servants without giving them the option to take their own lives on behalf of his quest. And then he has doubt. He has self-doubt about the ultimate end results of what he did. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think about that? This is a guy who was operating with such conviction.
I don't know if it's just that you work so hard at something for so long for him. Because he doesn't really care. I mean, you're right. He did lie about his servants, which let's just gloss over the fact that I thought they were robots last week. It was a long week at work, and just thought they were robots. And hey, we don't know. They could be. They could be robots.
Not robots.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's just kind of he worked so hard at something, and then there's this letdown after you achieve your goal, or if there's something deeper where, yeah, he does realize, maybe I'm not that savior I thought I could be. Who knows? This is not going to end. This does not guarantee that humanity has done this. I don't really know. And his whole idea was to just change the course of humanity in the direction it was going. And now has he done so? And I guess we'll find out with Lindelof's iteration in.
Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know.
In
I don't
the
know what
TV
you're
show.
I don't know what you're showing me. But
I'm showing you. Diana sent a picture, which I gotta go ahead and show this camera here. Here, let me switch over to your camera.
it's a little fuzzy. Oh, there we go. You'll have to post it. You can post it.
Yeah, it is a picture of you and me as two Dr. Manhattans sitting on the rock.
Yeah,
in Mars.
There's an interesting thing about that too. I think she might have already had kind of a draft version of that ready.
She's ready to
whenever
go.
I thought I was going to do a podcast with you, and then you went another direction, which was fine, and thank God I was able to rejoin you. She and I got so vindictive and angry about it, we actually started another website, and I was about to start doing a competitor podcast.
Are you kidding me?
I had a fake name. We had a website. We had some graphics up like that, kind of similar. And I was about to start going after you.
Why?
And it was going to be with a fake name. I was going to do voice modulation, and I was going to prove to you that I would take your ratings down.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so you avoided a war, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe Vate had a hand in that.
That's some serious shit there.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I had the camera just on you that whole time.
Oh, really?
So
Oof.
all of my reactions of, yeah, I knew this. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was going, sure.
Yeah.
I get it.
So what did you think about Sue on page 19, the top? It was interesting, I try to stay off social media for a reason because I like to avoid this kind of stuff. And it's just basically all the TV channels. And it just really seems like Twitter kind of to me. Just all, and I get what they're doing.
Just an overload of information.
Coming from all different angles,
Ultimately, as we move into discussing the television show, and we'll do more about that on another episode, but I think this idea of Ozymandias using this kind of one giant atrocity to unite everyone, I don't think it works. We do see evidence of Robert Redford. He's going to run for president.
Thank God it wasn't Reagan. I mean, that was what we were looking
Yeah,
at.
RR stands for now Robert Redford instead of Ronald Reagan.
Bobby.
Another cowboy
Bobby.
actor.
Yeah.
And he ends up being successful because we see in the TV show he is the president still in the world of Watchmen in the TV
Right.
show.
Right.
So he's also gone on for like 5 terms or whatever. And it's kind of funny, but also it's interesting how that's going to like affect the landscape of this world. I think that we're still going to see a lot of pain and problems. I mean, if you think about it, there was this idea that, if there's something hugely tragic that happens, you could take 9/11, for example. 9/11 was a pretty big tragedy. How long did a peace and unity between all countries last after 9/11?
It never did.
It never did.
Yeah.
We got a temporary unification of a conglomerate of
Well, no, the
countries.
Republicans and Democrats held hands and sang a song the night of 9/11.
They passed the Patriot Act, and
Yeah.
then a lot of them went, oh shit, what did I just pass?
Yeah, what did I not look at?
Did I not do my reading assignment there?
But they didn't care. They were already getting that military-industrial complex money anyway.
Right.
Let's, and that was my thing I think I talked about last issue. It's easy to win the war, right? Like, it's easy to win the war. It's harder to keep the victory. Like, it's harder to, it's easy to destroy a country. It's harder to occupy it.
Right.
Right? And in Chapter 11, his great plan was to do this bullshit with this genetic, bizarre alien that has tachyons instead of thinking, you know what would be interesting? Maybe I invest in education and campaign finance reform, and then I make sure gerrymandering's taken care of, and then I kind of look at gun reform, and then, wow, people will be a lot healthier, and they'll be saner, and they'll take care of each other, and they'll treat each other as neighbors. And maybe I can even do some, don't mess with Texas-style environmental things so people aren't littering anymore. Maybe I can do more solar panels so there's not, carbon footprint. Or I can have an incredible, but of course that wouldn't make a good comic book. That would be boring. Just to legislate. We would just have a comic book where he's just legislating things, right?
Right.
Yeah. And, we'd see the gavel strike down. Instead, he creates a monster and blows up a bunch of people. And that's my problem with him. That's why I don't think he's a genius. He does have a little bit of that Alexander conquest in him, and he talks about that.
Do you think he's immature?
He wears gold and metal cuffs and has Egyptian statues and gives himself a crazy name. Yes, he's very immature.
Right.
Of course. Yes, he instead of spending money on kids, well, hey, he might have done that too. He creates a genetically modified tiger cat thing named Bubastis.
It's pretty dope, though. Bubastis is adorable.
No, it's cool. Yeah, I just, I'm not for that guy for multiple reasons. But
yeah. Well,
let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
Did he actually catch a bullet? The answer is no. And did he create some cool armor, Bruce Wayne armor, and then it kind of bounced off it and he caught it off that?
Is that what he did?
Of course, you can't catch a bullet. If we're operating in this, well, I mean, hey, there was the one thing where, have any of them had powers? He's smart, but that to me is not a power. Other than Manhattan, which the power was created by science.
I wasn't really thinking about like what he did.
Does
there.
anyone have powers other than the psychic guy that they took his brain?
He still caught the bullet after it bounced off of his suit. That's pretty fucking dope, right?
No. Look, he's so smart that he could have even been ready for it.
He just had a second bullet in his hand, always holding a bullet.
Maybe. I don't know. All I mean to say is he did not catch a bullet.
That's interesting. Because I was going to ask you,
it bounced off his shirt.
What's going on there?
It bounced off his shirt. He has like bulletproof armor underneath there.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
That's a good theory.
I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong, and I'm usually wrong.
But it is a good idea because look, the bullet shows no impact either. It's a fully formed bullet. It's not smushed at all. So you're right.
Well, no,
it could be that he's holding another bullet in his hand the whole time, or he pulled it out of his pocket real quick as he went. Oh,
the whole thing is just weird. I don't see how. Because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. If he can catch a bullet, what does that add to the story? The comic book ends. What does that add to the story? In fact, it actually takes away from the character if he now has powers to catch a bullet, because there's also no such thing as bullet catching powers.
Doesn't it add to his hubris?
You literally can't catch a bullet. So you're telling me his two powers are he's really smart and he can catch bullets. That's not a power. If he also had that, if he could catch a bullet and move that fast, so does he have impregnable skin? Does he have really super fast movement like Flash? That's because that's a whole nother power. You can't just have a bullet catching power.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no such thing as bullet catching power. You can't be like, oh,
he is still bleeding from his chest and his hand.
That's what I'm saying.
So I like this idea. Yeah, he must have had a.
It hit his like bullet plating armor, but
he's
it still
nothing more
pierced him
than
a little
like
bit.
a sideshow magician who does a little bit of sleight of hand.
Exactly.
Okay.
He'll tell you which card you're holding. Yeah. So overall, though, I didn't think the issue was. I thought it was rushed. I didn't love some of the writing in it, but really cool to see the conclusion. And overall, I mean, really good series.
Right.
Agreed. So, happy to do it. I had a few categories for you.
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, we got a couple minutes before our caller is calling in. We have a special Patreon caller who's going to be giving us a ring-ding here in a minute.
Very special indeed.
So,
are we doing that right now, or we want to do some categories?
No, I want to hear your categories. I'm going to slide off camera for a second.
Okay. The first category, and you may need a minute to set everything up. You want me to run down all the categories? Or just do one at a time?
No, you can just say what the first category is.
After I just poured myself some more $12 Prosecco from the recycling bin, filled with ice. The first category is going to be best issue. What was your favorite, and best, by best I mean most, your favorite issue, the most enjoyable to you, what spoke to you, which one did you enjoy reading and you thought, oh, that was cool. Not even for the book, but just that was cool.
My favorite issue. Man, I gotta think about that.
Did you not get ready for this?
No,
I sent you these 2 days ago.
I think that my favorite issue is going to be the Rorschach one. I think that him getting interviewed.
So that was 6.
Yeah, I think that was actually a really beautifully done and fascinating one that shows an emotional weight on an individual. It gives a lot of insight into him. It does a lot of character study, character building. I think it was actually a pretty powerful issue.
That was actually my second favorite one. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
My favorite issue was number 4, which was the background for Dr. Manhattan. And I don't know if it was necessarily the issue I enjoyed the most, but I kind of thought to myself, without that issue right there, would I have kept reading the series? I mean, obviously I was doing this podcast with you, so I'm going to read it because I had homework assignments.
Right.
But without, I would have kind of maybe just set the book aside. You know, that sounds awful, but I would maybe set it aside and move it on to something else just because 1, 2, and 3, just so gritty, so nebulous, so many different things going on. What's going on right now?
No.
Okay.
I was playing with the cameras.
Yeah. Now that you got your new goodies, man, I mean, I'm glad I don't hang out with you on Christmas Day.
God, don't
I
be
bet,
like
I bet
that,
your
man.
daughters just, go through withdrawals because Dad's playing with his new gizmos. Doesn't have time for them.
I'm sorry, were you saying something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was my best / favorite / greatest / most enjoyable.
Okay.
Hit
I think
me
that's
up-
a good one.
Hit me up with your worst. And also, you just looked at my legal pad, so now you know.
Oh, don't flatter yourself. I can't read your handwriting. That's awful.
Wow. Okay, so what was your worst issue?
My worst issue, I think I would say... You know what? Give me a second. You tell me about your worst issue.
My worst issue by far was number 2. Number 1 was hard to read. This comic book had so many different things going on. I told you already that I don't love the 80s kind of graphics. I don't love the coloring. I don't like the character design. I don't like anything. So, number 1, I was like, okay, this I guess is a classic. I got to read it. Number 2, suffice to say, it just did not get any better. There was a bunch of funerals. There was a bunch of flashbacks to the original crew. There was like that kind of rape scene, which not fun to read. I mean, I guess you got to read it, but not great to read. There was nothing really enjoyable in 2 for me, and I'm kind of flipping through it right now. I mean, I guess we have. I don't know why we had to have it. I don't know what it did for me. I would have rather Wikipedia'd that. I got so afraid. Let me just say this. I got so scared in one of the M. Night Shyamalan movies.
You nailed it, yeah.
The one they went to hang out with their grandparents. Holy shit. Did you see that?
No?
Oh my god. I think it might have been called The Visit?
The Village?
Visit? No, The Village was good. Best soundtrack. Second best soundtrack of all time.
Mm.
I was in California at a drive-in theater. I got so scared sitting in my car by myself watching that at the drive-in that I left early, went home, and Wikipedia'd the rest of the movie. And that's what I wish I would have done with issue 2. It just wasn't very fun. I see that our Patreon caller might be calling us. Do we need to interrupt categories to actually do that?
Oh, wait, yeah. It's calling the wrong number. Here, let me tell him.
So while you're doing that, I think I might just tell
You
everybody...
want to go ahead and pop your headphones on there?
Oh, do we have to do that?
We're going to have headphones on while we do this part.
Yikes. Yep. Everybody, if you want to take a bathroom break, this might be the time. I'll give you a quick countdown, so if you go to the bathroom with the door open, you'll be able to come back and, well, actually, these days you can take your phone or laptop into the bathroom, so not too worried about it.
That's all you're going to say?
Hmm?
You.
Hear what?
Like a ringing noise?
No.
Hello.
Hey!
Hey.
Whoa,
What's up, guys?
okay, we are in business. Grant's
We are functioning.
putting his headphones on.
Hello.
How was the podcast today, guys?
Well, you are on live right now. We are live. What are we, live YouTubing?
We're live YouTubing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we didn't really prep you for that.
No. Well, I am. My by no means ready for this, but let's do it.
You don't need to be. Neither are we.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had a little competition for whoever was the highest Patreon patron on our site, patreon.com/WhoPodsTheWatchmen. And our number one was a guy named Subash Rajan, who is actually one of our best buds.
Yeah, and I think actually we've discussed him on the show maybe at least once in detail.
Yeah.
Maybe twice.
And welcome to the show, Subash.
Thanks, guys. It is a honor and a pleasure to be one of the few people who is actually talking on the show.
Yeah, you're actually when you say a few, you're part of a very elite group. This might be, you're the fourth person, I believe.
I know, I'm the fourth person.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I should be a permanent member now.
Little do listeners know that you have been to showings. You've just sat there quietly on your best behavior on your laptop, drinking. And actually, that's I think that the weekend you left and moved to your mountain climbs where you now reside, we were drinking Live Oak Hef in memory of you. So, and I say in memory of, not like you're dead, but you're kind of dead to us.
If you're dead, we know who's 6 feet under you.
I am outside of Texas now, so it is essentially dead. But I am in beautiful Colorado, so I do appreciate everything you guys do, and I think I'll have better commentary about the Watchmen once the show starts. But what was today's topic?
Well, actually, really quick, I just want to say to people that might be curious about the Mile High State. What is it? What is it? The Rocky Mountain State? What's Colorado?
The Mile High City.
It's the Mile High City and the Rocky Mountain State. I'm assuming. I don't know.
Shoot, I don't know.
But it's definitely the Mile High City.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain National Park, Rocky Mountain State seems appropriate.
Hit me up with best thing and worst thing.
Best thing is I have had a couple of weekdays off in a row, and I have been able to drive 30 minutes to some beautiful hikes just outside of the city.
Fuck yeah.
There is clearly a certain substance that is legal in Colorado, which I have not partaken in just yet, but it seems to be very popular in the city. And other best things, everyone here seems to be super fit, relative to Texas at least. I thought Austin was a fit city, but not compared to Colorado.
Yeah.
I think my last hike I went on, I had a 65-year-old lady trail run right past me while I was struggling up a little hill. And she just said, "On your left," and I might have, in my head, cursed at her.
Yeah.
So,
keep it in your head.
Best and worst.
Keep it in your head, yeah.
Yeah, best and worst, all at the same time.
Yeah, sweet. Well, so we actually just finished up the last issue, and so there's 12 issues, obviously, and we just finished up. Yeah. This is the last one, so I think, we wanted to chat with you to kind of get your, not even maybe if you don't have anything to say about this one in general, get your thoughts on Lindelof, on Lost and The Leftovers, if you've seen that, and also maybe get your thoughts on just you, because, we went to school together, we went to undergrad together, and you were a comic book reader as well. What are some of your favorite comic books? Just tell us kind of stuff like that.
What do you think of Watchmen? What do you think of this world?
So I think it's one of those things. So two things that probably popped into my mind. So one, in regards to Lindelof, I know I am speaking to a stan, if I will, with Mr. Davis on the podcast, but I think his greatest skill, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is his ability to create suspense and questions within a world. Whereas I think the problem with that, and I don't know, you can tell me if you agree or disagree.
You're being very diplomatic.
Would Lost be as popular now when people just binge everything? Like, if you didn't have that week in between where you got to discuss and you had to figure things out and you got to banter with other people, would Lost be as popular, or would people just get frustrated because there was never as many answers?
Hey, thank you.
Because the key thing with Lost was building another question and building another sort of mystery to try and figure out.
I don't say thank you to that. I don't necessarily agree that that it wouldn't work in today's climate.
I'm somebody who likes the slow
I'm
burn.
asking.
I know, no,
I love
that's not an
I'm
attack
just
on you.
asking.
You're our phone guest. I'm talking to Clay here.
You're our Patreon winner, so you're safe right now.
Yeah, you're safe from my scorn. I'll talk to you later on the phone, and I'll be mean to you. But no, I mean, you look at these other shows that are still popular on network TV. You look at.
There's not one. Don't say A Good Place, or I'm gonna walk out.
You look at The Good Place, and the mystery that follows that. I suppose that one isn't so laced with mystery and online discussion and theorizing. But even with something like Game of Thrones was very akin to Lost in that regard, and people were theorizing like all over the place
Because it wasn't released all at once. It was released every
week to week.
Yeah, that's
and
what he's saying.
It's still survived. He's saying, would it still survive today?
But
with a
he
week-to-week
he said
format?
no. Okay, but he said binge. Oh, I see. Okay, maybe I misunderstood.
When it's in competition with the binge format,
Oh.
because we have shows that. Savas, you still there?
Oh,
Yeah,
I think-
yeah, I'm here. Sorry, the network is cutting in.
Well, cool. I will just go ahead and mute that for a minute because I don't know what that was, but it sounded like an alien. I was gonna
Yeah.
I
say
think
like
it was actually the alien
guys.
from Vate. Yeah.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're back. I was
All
gonna
right,
say
perfect.
Stranger Things, which
Okay,
you
that
just
that
sounded
is my
like a monster.
only. That was the question about Lindelof. Is what do you think?
Oh my gosh! There it goes again. Well,
Hey, when you go live, fuck it, let's do it live. Let's do it live.
I think.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm
Are
back.
you
I'm here.
going through a tunnel, or are you being attacked by a monster? What the hell is that? All right, well, we're going to go ahead and say bye to our caller, Sebastian, and say thank you so much, because we can't listen to that. I don't know what's going on, Sebastian, but, yeah.
We love you.
The phone call's messed up. We'll talk to you later,
Thank
buddy.
you for your support.
Patreon.com, if you guys ever want to go ahead and
Technical difficulties.
support us.
Love you guys.
Patreon.com/WATCHMEN. We do appreciate it, but if your phone call gets messed up, we're going to hang up on you.
Unfortunately, I think the problem was maybe he was supporting us a little too much and he couldn't afford his Wi-Fi plan.
All right, guys.
Is that what
Bye.
it was?
So,
His dial-up modem that he's still using?
well, hey, let's get back to some of my questions
Okay.
that I had for you. And now I'm going to remove the headphones.
Yeah.
You know,
we
I'm
can
not a
take this
headphone
off.
guy. I'm not a headphone guy.
They're a bit warm. I get it.
Okay, so this is now and I framed this one, I titled this one, what's the Ben Stiller movie, A Night at the Museum?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called? This is the category, A Night at the Museum. When did it go
Ooh.
from historical relic, dusty, dry, boring, when did it come to life? When did this turn for you? From a tome to something you enjoy?
See, I was pretty captivated from the get-go. I think that it's pretty powerful right from the start, but I agree that there is a moment where the tension kind of starts picking up and we start kind of getting going and like, oh shit, things are really happening. And it wasn't, I would say, it was a prison break, right? I wouldn't say it was when Rorschach gets picked up, although that was pretty exciting, but it was a brief blip. But when he actually is getting jailbroken by Night Owl and Silk Spectre, you have this very cinematic montage kind of feel to everything. It's like, oh, now the wheels are in motion. The team's getting back together. We're all going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to figure out what's going on, and shit's getting real.
Yeah, that for me, it wasn't that one. I mean, that was issue 8. For me, it was issue 7, and I just call it the issue where Dan got his groove back. You know, you had the superhero moment. You had him. You know, they got an Archie, right? The one that what it was called.
Yeah.
They're flying around the city. They're rescuing people. You know, I mean, of course, it's a juvenile joke to like talk about the sex or whatever, but he's still got his groove back. And then he wore the sweet costume. He's up there like a fucking rock star on top of Archie, flying across New York. It was super sweet. And then at the end, she's like, what now? He goes, we're going to go break out Rorschach. And she goes, huh? So you had this funny moment at the end, and you knew, like, right then, just like you, it was like, here we go. This is getting going. This is cool.
That's the entire reason Zack Snyder took on the movie. Right. He goes, oh, shit, I can do some slow-mo shit with this. It's going to be sweet.
Right, yeah. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I love that guy.
I get it. We got to review that movie.
Yeah, and I have not. Yeah, view for me, review for you. Okay, the next category is called Cubes.
Cubes.
It is the Sugar Cubes Award. The Sugar Cubes Award goes to your favorite role player, the character who is not the most important. You can't do one of the main 5 or 6, but just the guy that you like or gal that you like, or animal that you whatever. Who's your favorite role player?
My favorite, just overall character.
Okay.
That's what you're saying.
When I say but it has to be, the Sugar Cubes has, no. Jesus Christ. The Sugar Cubes Award is for the character who's not one of the main characters, is one of the more characters on the periphery who you still like a lot, who was there for you.
Oh, man.
I can give you mine to kind of give you an example of what I'm looking for here.
Yeah.
So like Manhattan, Dan, Rorschach, they're all out.
Right. And I'm like, okay, there's the detectives. They're kind of bumbling around. I'm not necessarily feeling for them. There's not Bernard. There's the therapist who has a heroic moment at the end. But otherwise, I wasn't feeling him until that one moment. And I don't know if that's enough of a redemption arc for him just kind of being this conceited, person who mocks the people, like at dinner parties, who would mock the people that he's investigating for the most part, until he had a little bit of change of heart because of Rorschach. I don't know. Is there a person? I guess Hollis Mason just seemed like an earnest, do-gooder guy who wanted to go out and punch some Nazis, and that I liked.
That's a good one.
So I'm going to say Hollis Mason.
You wanted to repair cars, right?
He wanted to repair cars and have a beer with his protege on evening, weekend nights once a week.
Yeah.
That's kind of the sweet life, right?
I mean, that's the dream.
That's the dream.
So yeah, just getting your muffler going, getting your beers going. Yeah. So okay, good. I like that. That's a good Cubes. My Cubes was a therapist, actually. I thought this was a guy that went from something really vapid, a wife who maybe gave him some excitement, but really wasn't there for him. I mean, this guy was popping pills, drinking, obviously was kind of hiding from a lot of demons, and he was having to make nice at dinner parties and do what people expected him to do. Also, he's a black man in America, which, I know a ton about, but he's having to kind of play the role and play the part. And his wife is getting onto him, and then he realizes at the end, hey, what's my purpose? What's my raison d'etre? And he does it, And I liked that. And I just really liked the interaction between him and Rorschach. I thought that was really fun and kind of unnerving. And so I liked him. I thought he was a cool character to have. I think that the story would have been poorer without him, So that's kind of what I went with.
Okay. I feel like I kind of pooed on him before you got a chance to talk about him. I'm
that's fine.
That guy. And then you're like, no, that was my guy.
You shit where you want. You poo where you want.
There is something to be said for the Sugar Cubes. They're background characters. They're reliable. They're always there for a hero when they need them. And even if he just takes and discards them in Antarctica, they live on.
They do live on.
They're going to live on
nothing,
in the freezing Antarctica.
Nothing rots there, so that's just going to stay. They're going to be there. So, yeah, no, I mean, that's why it's the Cubes Award. And the Cubes Award applies to your life. I mean, you can think every day when you go to sleep, you can have pillow talk and say, who was the Cubes? Who got the Cubes Award in your life today, babe? And you can just talk about who was the minor role player. Maybe the person who made your coffee. Maybe somebody you saw at the gas station. Who got the Cubes? And you can actually make little plaques. You can make plaques with the green sugar cube on them, and then you can just go hand them out and say, you know what? You deserve this. Earn this. Earn this.
Okay. The Cubes is...
So the Cubes Award. So my next one is either MAGA 2020 or CAGA 2020. Just if you want to say keep America great again.
Okay.
Or make America great again. So who is the most electable? And I don't mean the person who's going to do the best job. I mean for our idiot American electorate.
Right.
Absolutely undereducated idiots, and I'm one of them, voting in 2020, or I guess, do we vote in 2019?
So let's say all 6. Let's say that all of them are alive, including Rorschach, including comedian.
Yeah.
All 6 are alive.
All stories. And hey, you can even go cubes on this. But generally speaking, who is it? I mean, I'll go if you want me to go. Do you want to go? Did you even give any thought to my? I'm starting to get the sense that you did not even think about this.
No. I mean, I would say like intellect wise, it's not gonna happen for Ozymandias. You can be as smart as a whip, and you are not going to be able to sell the American public. They want flash. They want pizzazz. They want someone who's outrageous, someone who's unpredictable.
He
someone
literally
who can...
wears gold cuffs and does gymnastics on TV for hours. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay.
He's in bodybuilding magazines littering the street. He's super rich. He has toys of him.
He does have the ego and the drive, to the desire, I suppose.
He's absolutely the most electable person. They wanted to create a Kennedy / Robert Redford blend with him, with his looks, and they did it. He's the golden boy.
I feel like the comedian would win. I feel like that guy would come out of left field. He would have this angry, like jaded kind of concept of the world, and he would just fire people up and get them pissed off, and he would use that fury to his own end. He would be able to manipulate people, manipulate society.
Does that remind you of anyone? I mean, it sounds like you're almost alluding to something.
No, nothing comes to mind.
Okay, yeah. Weird, huh? Because that would be terrible if that happened.
Would.
That would be awful.
It's awful.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think, and I was thinking too, okay, I think it would be Vate, but we see that he doesn't need to be president to have a profound effect on the world.
Yeah.
So actually, a president's a pretty weak position for him.
It's kind of a step down. You would have to deal with probably minutia that he would not want.
For him to scream, "Can you ask the president of Finland a question?" and to scream at people to ask the president of Finland a question, and then I can just see Vate just tweeting bullshit in all caps and thinking, "What did my life come to?" I used to be with Bubastis in Antarctica. I had my robot buddies in the vivarium.
He killed Bubastis almost for nothing because Dr. Manhattan came right back, and Bubastis gone. That was his only friend. Only friend in the world. He killed the other guys and didn't even apologize for it. Bubastis, he at least gave a, sorry, bro. Zap.
That one hurt him a little bit.
That was his cat.
But does anybody really miss their cat?
I am not an animal person, but I think so.
I'm an animal person, and I don't miss my cat. Right now, I'm thinking about a lot of things I miss. The cat's not one of them.
Okay.
So
it's a larger than life cat.
You're right, though. That's a pretty sweet cat. So I actually threw this one in. This is the next little guy.
All right. What do we got?
This is favorite cover. And I know you might have to scroll through really quickly.
I can't read what you're showing me.
Okay.
I do need to scroll
favorite
through.
cover, and I did this for you because you're a cover guy. Well, actually, I call you a cover girl.
I'm a cover girl.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
So, which one would be my favorite cover? Man, there's a lot of good ones here, man.
Do you want me to just sing the cover song while you're scrolling through?
I gotta say that Chapter 3 has got a pretty sweet skull with all to hell going on the cover with the radioactive symbol. There's a lot of really good symbolism going on there. Is it my favorite? I don't know about that.
I was going to say, I don't know why you're talking through this. You need to look and take it
All right,
in.
go ahead and...
This isn't Grant talks about every cover. This is Grant selects a favorite cover.
Then go ahead and jump to yours, dude.
All right, I'll sing the Grant cover song. Just a little bit of Grant, picking out his favorite covers. He wishes he was under the covers, getting some beauty sleep. But instead he's just here with you guys, thinking about the look in my eyes when I look at him across that podcast booth.
There we go. Chapter 11 has got to be the sweetest cover. It's got the most kind of abstract punch to it with this little slice of life peeking out from under here. I think the metaphor that I was alluding to before of the the soldiers, the servants being buried by sand. And here it's the great works of Ozymandias and his servants being buried by snow. Works with this, as well as the drip being, like you pointed out last week, the exact same shape as the red iconic drip on the cover of the
ketchup splat.
The ketchup, the human bean juice splat.
Well,
that's
at the end of
dripping down
issue 12, it was ketchup.
the smiley face. Yeah.
So, yeah, you couldn't have said it better. I couldn't, well, I don't know how to say that. I could not have said that better myself. I picked that one too. That was a sweet cover. I love the white. It's just super clean. The color is unlike any color we usually see in this comic book. I actually don't love that 1980s color, and I know people listening hate that I say that every issue or every episode, but I don't. And this was sweet. I love that vibrancy. It was just really rich, clean, and did a lot with a little.
Agreed.
So, the last category I have, how many deaths, and we're transitioning now to the TV show, how many deaths do you think we're going to have in the first season of Lindelof's show?
Of main characters?
No.
Of main characters,
No,
I would guess...
I said no.
I know. But of main characters, I would guess we're going to have 2 to 3. 2 to 3 people that we think are going to be there for a little bit that kind of catch us off guard and they die. Characters are just like death toll otherwise overall. I would guess there's going to be some sort of event that kills a good 100 or so people. And I'm guessing that because we see like that scene in the circus. I'm not sure if that's like a scene from like maybe something that happened in the 50s or whatever, or if it's a modern day scene. It's a fairly timeless, contemporarily timeless scene of a circus, right? Or carnival. I keep saying circus. Carnival that's going on in Little Town Carnival. Big body count there. I think the battles between the cops and the 7th Cavalry zealots, I think there's going to be some body count there. Some cops are going to die. Some of those alt-right bros are going to die. Yeah, I would say 120 people.
Dude, that's crazy.
What?
I said 220. Why did we each... It's almost like psychologically, subconsciously, we think, let's just throw 20 on there. Let's just, because saying another 50 is crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Saying another 50 is crazy. But if we just throw 20, just kind of cover our bases, give us some
good.
wriggle room. So I said 220, and I said 220 because there are the scenes you're talking about. And also we do seem like there are armed groups, kind of militias. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a couple militias, like let's say the FBI, or you remember in The Leftovers they had the, they like added cult on to the firearm, alcohol, tobacco, whatever.
Right.
Remember they also dealt with cults?
Mm-hmm.
And so I can imagine, it only takes once or twice when federal agents or whatever, or Tulsa, what is it? Are they in Tulsa? Where are they?
Tulsa.
Tulsa PD storms one of these buildings, and they kill like 60 or 70 militia members or something like that. Or they go after each other. Who knows? Either way, I can see it building up to like 220 pretty easily. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
I would like a nice death toll.
The moonbeams in a jar kind of theory, that if you guess a number and I guess a number, whatever's in the halfway is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So,
we got a small sample size here. But
yeah, we're at 170 or so. So I'd say that's going to be the number, 170, folks.
Sabash obviously is not able to talk to us, but let's just say he said 170.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Wow. Okay, cool. So that's all I had.
He's
actually
pretty smart. He's the number one Watch Pod fan. So
yeah, he is our favorite listener.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not our favorite, but did we have any questions or anything on the gram? Do you know?
I didn't put out any questions this one because I knew we had a lot of other things to discuss. But
yeah.
I think we did it. I think we've had a pretty big episode here, folks. We have discussed all 12 issues of the comic book. I hope we've been fairly comprehensive with our kind of digging in and our analysis on all of that. We've had a great time doing it, but this is only just the beginning. I thought we've had a pretty good time. I really enjoyed this.
You said great time. Now you said pretty good. Let's just take it down another notch. No, look, I've had a great time. I appreciate you having me on here, me being the newbie that I am and kind of taking the layperson's view, comic by comic, not knowing anything. I'm glad I did it. And I think, were you going to say that maybe we might continue in some form or fashion?
We are continuing. This whole thing was a prelude. We're doing this just to kind of get the wheel spinning, the grease going, the grease heated up, and the cogs and the wheels.
We've
and
put
the
our Axe body
Jell-O.
spray. We put our Axe body spray on, and now we're kind of going like this to kind of just get the heat activation
right.
going.
We're ready to hit the clubs. The clubs being October 20th, the debut of the show. But
Right.
we're not done now. We're not going to just rest on our laurels until the October 20th because we still got 2 weeks to go before then, folks. So we're going to have to be diving into some other topics here.
And by topics, you mean movies.
We are going to talk about the movie, and I hope you guys are ready for that because it's going to be a lot of fun.
That is going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to it, and I hopefully we'll be able to do that in the next week or so.
Yes.
So hopefully everybody, obviously, stay tuned. And I really hope that once the TV show starts going, I think obviously we're going to do it as timely as possible, like right after the show.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about it every week after the episode.
Sweet. Look forward to it.
Yep. Folks, once again, you can check us out, Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You can follow us at whopodsawatchmen.com. Please go and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, be it on Stitcher, on iTunes, over on Google Play, or even on Spotify. And if you guys want to help support us, you can go to patreon.com/whopodsawatchmen. We appreciate all of the support you guys have given us thus far, and we hope you guys continue with those monthly pledges. Give us $2 a month.
This $12 Prosecco doesn't pay for itself.
We will keep drinking. We're going to keep experimenting with things here. We're going to try and do a few more live video episodes.
Yeah.
If this ends up going well, we'll see once I do a final cut of this.
And, as you know, I think my cell phone is broken. So I think Diana might be watching, and I just hope that she knows that, I will be bringing cheeseburgers home after the show. She likes to. Usually she stays up late and waits for me to bring her cheeseburgers.
Our live pod is really just a one-way phone. It's like a walkie-talkie for you to her.
Yeah, so babe, I'm bringing you cheeseburgers. So,
all right. Cheeseburgers are on the way. And we want to thank once again Subhash Rajan for calling us and being our #1 Patreon patron. And thank you all. Once again, we'll be back next week with some more Who Pods the Watchmen. Until then, bye.
Have a good night.